You know I gotta talk about Alpha 7. I had to say it because this is a team that definitely relies on a lot of momentum. If they start slow, it's gonna be a horrible day for them. This is a team that needs to at least have a top 5 situation for them to feel confident, and I know they won the win because I was able to talk with Rio, I was able to talk with all the players, and they say, I told them, I was like, oh, I think you guys can definitely finish top 3. They looked at me, and I thought I was about to get beat up. They were like, no, number 1. I was like, okay, do you?
It is interesting. It is interesting. I just want to. I know we've said it a million times, but just look at this. I think they have all. They have formed an area now, an area of support. Can you see this? I think you see our cameras right. They've got flags as well now. What is coming next? This is sensational, honestly. Oh my goodness! If you were here, you would feel the ground shaking, literally shaking. It is crazy. It is absolutely absurd. Well, we will be heading down to the stage very soon. I do want to ask you one final question. And just straight up like that. I mean, your answer is already kind of done. I mean, for what? We'll see. Is Nova gonna pick up the 3rd championship or no?
It would be such a good storyline, yes.
Hello, PubG Mobile fans in Indonesia and in the world. My name is James Yang, Director of PubG Mobile Global Esports. I'm here today to share exciting news about our esports plan for 2023. As a summary, 2022 has been a milestone year for PubG Mobile Esports. We hosted 13 PMPs in 5 regions, with 343 teams and more than 2,000 players. A record-breaking 600,000 teams registered for 2022 PubG Mobile Club Open. Also, with the love and support of our fans and the hard working of our pro players, we won Esports Mobile Game of the Year at 2022 Esports Award. Massive thanks to everyone! Moving on to 2023, I'm happy to share we are making a number of upgrades to PubG Mobile Pro League. Firstly, PMPL Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines will become PMPL Malaysia. Also, we are introducing PMPL Southeast Asia wildcard, which will cover the Philippines, Myanmar, Cambodia, and Singapore region. This will provide more pro-level options for those teams in South Asia regions. Secondly, PubG Mobile is committed to providing more semi-pro and amateur promotion opportunities than ever before. The reintroduced PMPL qualifiers will act as a gateway to those teams for PMPL in 2024. Teams will gain access to PMPL qualifiers by competing in PubG Mobile National Championship, PubG Mobile Club Open, and authorized third-party tournaments. One of our key aims in 2023 is to foster more exciting region with region rivalries. After the success of our first PubG Mobile regional clash in 2022, we will introduce more PMRG tournaments in this year. We are also making the changes to the rules to make improving more player experience. We will be transitioning to 10-point system across all tournaments to make the games more exciting and competitive. In 2023, fans can see PubG Mobile Esports in represented and 32 Southeast Asia games taking place in May in Cambodia, and the 90th Asian Games hosted in Hangzhou, China starting in September. It's an honor to be recognized by 2 major sporting bodies. PubG Mobile esports will once again hold 2 global tournaments in 2023. The PubG Mobile World Invitational in Riyadh in July. And the PubG Mobile Global Championship, which I'm pleased to announce, will be starting in November, and the grand final will be held in Turkey for the first time. Thank you to everyone for being tuned in. And we are so much excited about what is to come in 2023. So now, let's get back to all the action to 2022 PMGC Grand Finals! Terima kasih!
And welcome back to the desk. That is some exciting news, if I may say so. Not only do we have 2 big international sports events in which we will see PubG Mobile, the SEA Games, and obviously the 19th Asian Games, but we will have the PMGC in Turkey. Well, it's something in November as well, so we get to see that even earlier.
Yeah, I mean, you know when Xinjiang is here, you know you're going to have some good news. And that is some great news, 7. In Turkey, we're going to have it over... I was going to say, you're not over in Europe. I'm in Europe. I'm really happy about this.
Hopefully I'll be there. Hopefully I can be there again. I mean, I'm super excited that it is going to be there. I'm super excited that we are going to be having the grand finals in December as well. It's not going to be even a long break for the players. I think that's going to be mixing it up. And I mean, we saw the 10-point system announcement too. We saw the regional clashes, which we were talking about it. Nothing has been announced. But Maxman and I were just dreaming about Americas versus Europe. It would be just such an amazing clash.
It would be rough to make it happen, but if it does happen, I would say that would be the best rivalry.
Yes.
Americas versus Europe, you just can't beat that.
Americas would win. No. I'm sorry, somebody from Europe.
It could become the new classic. It could become the new classic. Before we get into the matches, though, we want to quickly keep you updated on everything that is going on over the next 3 days. The schedule is as follows. Today, starting today, in just a couple of minutes, actually, we'll see the first game, and then 5 more. 6 matches today, 6 matches tomorrow, and another 6 matches on January the 8th. So for the next 3 days, stay tuned. Remember to follow your socials. Remember to tune in live every single day until January 8th, because you will not be... disappointed. You just complete my sentence. That's perfect. Actually, you're not disappointed. We will be having the point system, what you saw next year. So we will have the normal point system that we just saw throughout last year. 15, 12, 10 in the first 3 places, and obviously 1 additional point for eliminations.
Exactly, elimination is going to be pretty important going into it, but also we've got to keep in mind, 7, this is going to be something that impacts it. The surface settings are the same as the league stage, no kill strike is going to happen here.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that because I never liked when that happened, okay? It was always one of my less favorable things when it went to Sandhawks, so I'm glad that's not going to be the case, and we're seeing how those teams were able to qualify here. You can see the last chance. I mean, they had it the worst. But that's where 2 of the Brazilian teams came out of, and we're seeing IHC Esports there as well, DRS Gaming, and then we go to the special invites. Wolf Esports and Alter Ego, I feel like those are the biggest question marks here for this grand finals. How are they going to be able to perform since they haven't really got a chance to really go up against these teams?
And then we will be starting off with Arigo. The competitive rotation will be as follows.
Yeah, of course, going to be starting things off with Erangel. Erangel followed up with Miramar, Sandhawk. Erangel once again, Miramar, and then Erangel. 3 Erangels. If you can perform well on that battleground tier 7, that is going to be your way to stand out on the rankings.
Yeah, I'm just hyped up because we saw Sandhawk here, and also the crowd is going to be hyped up. We were talking about it for a minute too. But you mentioned it perfectly. I feel like this team definitely needs to narrow it down their performances in Erangel when it comes out to the most. And if for some reason, something that we have seen happen over and over again, if they do start bad in those 2 first matches, which is Erangel and Miramar, I hope whatever team it is, this is Sandhawk, kind of just bring it back. And we have seen teams do that before.
Exactly, and there's so many things to take into account, but also we're just, I think, just a few minutes away now from jumping into our very first game. Thing is, it's a 3-day event. There are not many games that are going to be happening here. You're never going to be safe. Not throwing a game away, every point is going to count.
And then we have teams to watch from both of you guys. You already put them in there. Maxman has Nova, God likes Stalwart. And he can explain, Max.
I mean, Stalwart makes sense, Nova makes sense too, but also Defam, once again, I think one of the biggest surprises is how dominant they were in the league stage. If we see that kind of performance in the finals in 37, I would like to see if they can try and be in that top 3, maybe take home a trophy.
Ooh, okay. Well, you know what? I got Alpha 7 actually in the top 3 situation. I don't have them win the tournament, but I am going to be looking forward to see how they start off the day with Nova. I mean, we talked about it earlier. Can they actually just show up and showcase why they are the back-to-back Grand Finals champions for PMGC? And then I have none other than Alter Ego, because I feel like it's just such a big question mark. This is a team that can definitely end up surprising a lot of people. We see the energy, and you know that just as much as we are feeding off that energy, the players are going to be feeding off that energy as well. The one big question mark that I do have with Alter Ego is their previous performances haven't really been that well, so we'll have to wait and see how they're going to perform here in the first game.
And with that being said, we will be heading over to John Allen and Blank. Take it away, boys, and have fun with the match.
Thank you very much. We are indeed going to have plenty of fun today. We've got 6 matches for these teams to get their teeth stuck into to kick things off the first third of the games.
Yeah, there's going to be a fair few matches we've got off the card today. Obviously, we've done one of them show match, and then really cool announcements, with Turkey as well being the next. We're already confirmed that in, locked that in. That's in calendars now, which is good news. Obviously, with the new points change as well, going down to 10 for that chicken dinner and getting much less points, down to 0 towards the bottom end of those placements, which means that elimination is going to become much more important next year. You're going to have to be certainly a competitive team. You can't just send towards that center anymore. That isn't the case where you just play for those 12, 13 points towards that top side of the lobby. It's just an impossibility now. So this is going to really put a massive change on the terms of performance of a lot of these teams. However, we will be getting into our first, technically our first game of PMGC 2022 Grand Finals very shortly. Already you can see just the masses of support that is out right now for Alter Ego. By the way, that back there, that little sign, that wasn't put up by us. That's the fans. They are very efficient in creating a nice little zone for those guys to stay in, which is beautiful stuff.
They bring their own. They bring their own signage. It's brilliant. You love to see it.
It is a redecoration.
Hang on a minute. No. We need to sort this out. Come on. Bring in the signs. And they did. Fantastic support being shown for the players in this tournament. You can see them starting to focus in now. Blank. They are very much getting in the zone at this stage. Look at that. Barely moving a muscle apart from those hands.
Yeah, IHC definitely looks there to be very serious. Again, for Alter Ego, we've met the coach now a few times now, Danny. He's a really great guy, actually, very nice. I think the major thing that did me earlier was he showed me around because I didn't know where I was going. So he was like, I'm very good with directions. And I was like, thank you. Now I've not got lost once. However, I'm sure he's also a very good coach as well. So we're heading into the first game right now, John.
Match number 1 of the PMGC 2022 here in Jakarta. Aaron Gilt, the first match as it always is, Blank. We will be getting on with the plane this time. It's headed from the west side down towards the Snovka military base. It's coming a little bit low on the island, so the northern part of the map is going to be a little bit less accessible.
A bit more difficult to head towards Salva, and the Yaz is still accessible, but this does mean maybe fight for vehicles on that eastern side, which becomes quite difficult, becomes a little bit of an issue, a bit of a problem for some of these teams. You want to cross those paths on that side, you want that bad look that could bring. Also on the east, some players, some teams heading out very early over towards the west here. You get a demo from IHC setting up towards South George. T2K is already dropping out. Nova looks like they're heading up towards Gakka at the moment. And Vampire down towards Primos, a very typical spot for them.
We did see Nova have a little bit of trouble with Gakka during their gameplay in the group stages. There was another team that was dropping down there with them, but it looks like they managed to isolate that this time around. T2K going a little bit further on. Silas, a little bit too close to comfort, hot drop on a vehicle potentially, but S2G, maybe we're going to lose a player. This early in the game would be far from ideal. Let's see a little bit further east for the rest of them. On this engagement, IHC drop all the way to the west on the coast, grab 2 vehicles, will be able to tuck themselves nice and healthy. The first circle pops, it's fairly central, centred on Potato Hill.
This is a nice circle as well, considering you don't have to move too far towards that north side. This play path doesn't really cause too much ruckus. Maybe in the sense that obviously getting towards that top side of the map, getting some of those positions is quite rough. I think that what you're looking at the moment, though, is some of these teams quickly sending out. Obviously, IHC sent out early up towards that western side. They moved up towards shooting range, up towards South Georgia at the moment. But it is Alter Ego who takes school on that middle edge, middle like donut side of this circle, which is great to see. It's going to keep them nice and safe, nice and healthy for the rest of this game.
You're talking about how maybe next year we're going to see less teams be able to send very, very central, but we're not in that point system yet, right? We are still on this 15-point. We're still on that 15-point chicken dinner. And of course, if you want to be grabbing some of the loot that I'm sure some of these players will be going for, the 2022 PMGC Special Crate is on offer. But it's only there for a limited time, so make sure you are checking it out.
Absolutely drips out in this PMGC. So many cool stuff to grab, so many cool things to pick up. It's beautiful stuff overall, and I think that right now, PMGC 2022 has to be the best one yet. Inco over towards Shells, a team that loves to head central very quickly, pick up a position on the map and then hold on to it. Not necessarily going for these big blast out games where you hit up towards those massive elimination counts, but those games that will see you steady over 3 days towards the end of this grand finals, where you may be able to pick up yourself a first, second or a third place. Inco, though, I believe might have some more difficulties when it comes to PMGC 2022. I think that if they're heading towards that center side, it's not necessarily always going to be as easy as that as it was over in that last chance. It looked pretty simple game plan from there, but I can almost guarantee you some of these other teams that are extremely good, very well honed in capability, will be picking off these kind of rotations from Inco and to the such of other teams within this lobby.
But playing on the eastern side of things will be pretty close to Inco, in fact. See Skyly on foot this time around, might have to jump into the three-wheeler here with Kengzo. Tiger as well, maybe occupying that third spot, but Inco are further down the hill and they should be safe in prison. Hang on a minute. Vampire managed to pull first blood out against Catch from Fireflux. So Vampire managed to get the first point of the tournament. A good start to proceedings for them. They'll be happy to kick things off in such a fashion.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good news for them. At least one initial knock. Don't know if that was first blood, though, so far. Yeah, that's your elimination. Seems strange the point isn't there, but that will come after the game finishes. When they pick up their placement points for all these matches. The elims, they are 1 point each so far. So if you got that answer right, you're very smart. And, to be honest, it's a gimme. It's a gimme, that one. Right? Who won the title twice in a row? Everyone knows it's Nova. So if you did get it right, I'm a little disappointed, but if you didn't get it right because you're just joining into PubG Mobile Esports now, and you're joining on to us, I'm very happy you're here. And maybe you'll get it right next year if you hang on with us, because we do have so many more fun things to come.
But is it going to read who were the three-time champions of PMGC, or is it going to be who took the title?
Who took the title away from Nova? I mean, that's a real question, right? I think for Nova, specifically over in those test matches, I think we didn't see absolute domination, let's say. I don't think it looked as squeaky clean as it usually is. But again, test matches, scrims, don't necessarily translate extremely well when it comes to actual play, actual action. And also, for Nova in particular, this is the team that often cruises through and then really pulls out those big numbers, the big action, when it absolutely counts. And right now, it counts more than ever.
Absolutely right. Towards the finals, the last 18 games of this season, of the 2022 PubG Mobile calendar, are being played out right now. So there's really no more time to wait. Can't be hanging about, not this time around. But they do have their countrymen to worry about. The Wolves obviously coming in from the PEL, coming into this as a potentially even higher seed than Nova, having beaten them out previously. You've also got 4 Angry Men who were able to qualify directly through from the group stages.
Yeah, I mean, 4 Angry Men are a very, very good team, doing particularly well in PL as of recent. I think they had a bit of a fall off over in 2021, right? And I thought it was a bit of a shame we didn't see them in 2021, considering they did have such a splash over in 2020. That's why they look extremely strong. I think that was back when they were taking shots against Solke over in Vikendi when the team was in Castle. That was a great time. I think they looked like one of the best teams. So again, 2021 rolls around, 4M isn't there with us. It comes as a massive surprise, a huge shock to the community. So I think seeing 4M back here is also a return to normality, honestly, which is great for me to see. This is definitely what I want to see as well.
Let's hop on board with Fortnite. Kenzo under pressure now from Good Shout. Not quite able to get the full knock, but half an HP bar taken away. Fortunately, there is cover. There is a building there for Garena to be able to take occupation of. Wolves as well. On the top of Potato Hill, you said that it was going to be just the one team in the centre. Well, now there's more that have started to move on through. This is quite a wide split over Potato Hill. 2 and 2 for Wolves.
Yeah, this is a typical kind of rotation. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think it's one of those ones where you can lose players pretty quickly over on that western side. You get rocked upon aggressively with a push up towards the north. There's only 2 players there. It's very difficult for those players on the west side to react quick enough to provide that support that they need. So you're really looking at kind of a 2v4 scenario where you're hitting one of the knocks. You don't necessarily have to finish it as a 2v4, but you certainly need to slow something down. And that's where you need to be a very, very good team to make that one happen. Chinese teams, though, they are very well known for these 2-2 splits, even bigger splits than that, in fact. So if anyone can do it, I mean, we can imagine the Wolves would be able to hold this position.
Kelsey takes the lion's share of the damage there, but the buggy brings them back to safety for S2G. Circle pops, centre, a little bit to the south coast there. Will keep the water in proceedings, but likely we will be finishing over to the east side of Pachinki, northwest of farm, southeast of school.
But playing massively over towards that edge, right? They're not even making their way into the circle as of yet. So you pass over towards Gekka. Nova decided to leave that position behind, trying to head further in towards the circle itself. Seeing Wolves at the moment actually taking shots over towards Nova. Orders found a position that's down towards the southwest side of Potato Hill.
Nova yet to fully regroup here on their manoeuvres, but they will be able to do so very, very quickly, and Jimmy wastes no time in starting to extend that Caterpillar slink back together. U-High on the hillside for Geek Fam. Looking to slow down and over IGL. Jimmy will hear those bullets whizzing on past. Will be turned away at the door. Has to scout out in another direction. Figure out where they want to go in from here. They're already very, very central under the purview of Wolves to their east.
Yeah, Wolves still hanging on pretty well. This is an extremely strong position that Nova currently own. One of the stronger positions within this circle, to be honest. Looks out towards that eastern side, provides a lot of cover towards west as well with the mountainside. Well, less of the mountainside, more of the ridge being behind you. So a really, really good position that Nova was able to find quite quickly as well. I didn't expect the team to be able to just pick this one up so easily as that. So threaded the needle, found the position they want straight through the sweater.
Ching Chen getting some healing done there. Keep himself safe after the scout for the 4 angry men. Up the road compound here towards the school. S2G outposted both sides of the road here. We have seen a couple of times where it's been 2 or 3 teams in this one settlement, but S2G have control of it for now. The circle still being fairly large means that no teams are really going to be forced into that poor spot.
Yeah, I think that when you're looking at this circle, there's a lot of areas to play, right? There's a lot of elevation, a lot of positions on the map that still have compounds, a lot of roads you can play in, still have dips, dives that you can head towards. So I don't think anyone's really put out as of yet. I think for 5 looks this is maybe becoming a bit more of an issue at this point in time, especially coming down from that northwest side. So yet to have found a home at this point in time. So for them, the rest of the game is going to be a lot about trying to find this next position within the circle. I don't think they have all the information in the world available to them with this type of spot, especially when you get to PMGC. You can see that there's still 63 players remaining, 16 teams still alive. So For a team like Fireflux, finding these positions that are empty, that are still available to pass through, very, very difficult, as teams are quite easily able to bypass one another, open space on the map to allow one another in before they really have to take these necessary fights in the end game.
DRS might be delivered a couple of engagements here from Alter Ego. Wolves a little bit further down on the south. But the Potato is safe for now in the shack. Stays alive, looking to sure drop a couple of stims. We'll be able to get back to full HP here. They are fairly close together for Alter Ego. On their home turf, in their home ground. Yeah, but still be at 4. Who's going to go down first, though? That's the big question here at the PMGC. You don't want to be the first team getting eliminated in the next circle comes through. So over to the east.
Again, getting that lead on the first day is really good, right? It gives you that big buffer. Able to stick up towards that top side of the lobby for a long, long while. Order being popped out by Alter Ego, no less, as well. Wonderful start for them. What a position that Nova held, and Order scouting out a little bit too dangerously. Not quite down as of yet, but Alter Ego are swarming.
They want to confirm this flush. There's no way that Nova are going to be able to get this one back either. A couple more bullets did land over towards Order, and now the rest of Nova are taking a couple of shots from Alter Ego. Paraboy worried about S2G as well at the top of the hill. Worried about that position as IHC descent onto Rig in the sidelines, and immediately a rundown and a spray down. Demo is taken out in the process, but will be safe for now. Will be just fine for the time being. Demo getting rezzed up there by Ziol.
Yeah, IHC kind of blasted off towards the end of the tournament in the league stage. Created a massive gap between them and other teams to allow them to get into this grand finals. Not necessarily one of the best teams here in the lobby, but certainly with a chance to prove themselves as one of those best teams. I think right now there's other teams I've got my eyes on, but again, Mongolia was surprised before over in the PMGC. I'm sure they can do that again.
4 second places for IHC in those last chance scenarios. As Luck takes a tumble there from Fireflux, the second player of theirs to fall. Hang on a minute, we've got a bit of a scrap at IHC. T2K looking to try and stay alive. IHC want to finish the job that they started. And Demo again, the one to go down, and once more Ziol picks it back up.
Really good stuff. I mean, Demo's kind of just playing as the absolute punching bag of the team, which is absolutely fine. I'm okay with that. You know, as long as a little bit of sand pouring out of him, but he's staying up on his feet, brought back. And that defensive shield in front of the team, that's all good for me. So IHC really, really well done so far. 3 eliminations. T2K didn't know what hit him. Circle up towards the northern side. Solar still with a player on bended knee. 4 AM. Down underneath them, towards the southeast with good shout. Ching-Chen down towards the south too. They're playing this 2-2 split. I think that they might be ready to converge on top of Solus and Fireflux, and they move further ahead of them, maybe towards that north side, and eliminate their approach towards the circle.
The last player from T2K spotted out. Location known and isolated by IHC. On the northern side, Koyovsky has the info there as well, but not really too much ground to be playing around with to get those points on board, to slurp them back up into the pocket. Fireflux, 2 players alive. They've been picked apart a little bit. Solus and Solk, the remaining duo on the south edge of this next circle near Farm. Geekfam, currently on the outside in the cold here, southwest side, near Store. Nova to their north. Remember, Nova have lost a player already, so there are only 3. And Vampire further north of that.
Still 3 players, more than enough a lot of times. Influence came in, had a seriously good run throughout the entirety of this year. It's not only a case of a team that suddenly they were hit by bright light and able to head towards the mirror and realise they didn't need the glasses anymore, and they were somewhat more muscular. They've always been that way, they've just been working on it for quite some time. Unfortunately, it's not going well for them.
Oh, Influence came in. Getting caught up in the web of it. IHC stringing them along now. Only Law remains on the backstop as Nova have their own problem to deal with. Nades out through the window. 2 teams have already fallen there. The burn down the Geek Squad try and roll it into Nova. It's not going well. They're turning the ties. Jimmy is down shore, but King and Paraboy set up the crossfire and the Geek fam are cut down.
Goodness me, Geek fam. This is a great chance to represent Malaysia here in the PMGC Grand Finals and look for that grand title itself. Unfortunately, going against Nova and getting picked apart like that does not bode well towards the team that is currently defending. Vampire Esports, on the other hand, this may be a different team, a different type of beast altogether.
Jimmy did go down in the process, so 2 players alive now for Nova. And not went over towards Vampire earlier. Schweppes puts an nade through the window to back him off.
Oh, it's beautiful!
It goes long and through the door. Paraguay runs right on into it. King now needs to reposition. Geek Fan might be able to... to stay alive off the back of this knock. King dropping those smokes, allowing himself to cross, making sure that he has the cover. Fluke cannot really go for this full aggression just yet. They have to be worried about Geek Fam as well, but the hillside's now controlled. King in for the res, but in comes Stone and Ravenclaw in the vehicle. In through the window, pulls the ordnance, and there they go. Nova down and out in the first match.
An entirely different beast is exactly what this team is. Sharp fangs, long claws, and massive, massive potential to scare here in the late game, prowling out from the bushes. Really, really well done to Vampire Esports. Cut themselves a nice bit of the circle for themselves over on this western side, can move through it. Good positions to move up against as well towards that east. Volterigo taking a couple of knocks there. That might just be their go signal.
Delta definitely spotted Chingchun going on into the shack, and there's the Molotov. Is he going to spread? Is it just fallen a little bit short? I think he might be able to get a first aid off there and stay alive, but that nade in through the door might just seal the deal. Outside again, a DRS laying it short.
DRS, honestly, they played a very safe type of game over in the league stages. Waited a long, long time. It wasn't until towards those final moments we really saw what they were made of, John, honestly. And I think that once we did see that, we saw that, they were maybe a little bit more tougher than we expected. Considering now on the edge a lot of times, now they're taking the fights to these big teams over the PMGC.
Wolves stalwart already looking for the crash. The Wolves lose the first on the engagement. Action already on 2 eliminations as Remember falls. Memory wiped out as well. Scry into the ground floor, stays up and kicking as well. Beautiful, and Pick feet to the back lines now. Looking to pick Remember back up. Scry gets that heal off and they remount their aggression. Scry in through with that DBS. Action takes a lot of damage, but Pika is already forwards with the UMP. Pick feet falls on the top floor and Beautiful's there as well. He's found and Stalwart keep it on rolling. The Chinese teams are being pulled apart here, Black.
Really good stuff there from Stalwart. And again, this is definitely no longer these years of PMGC being all about China. We have some seriously good teams, Alpha 7 included, taking it to the guys from Buddhadam so far. Mythic down behind them, but if anyone can do it, Revo can. This guy has been certainly impactful for the team.
Carrillo is still there as well. Tiger with the zone pushing in will have to move now. Demo from IHC. We've seen him be, you were talking about it, a little bit of a punching bag earlier, Blank, and that sand is still topping him up. Vampire on the western edge, playing still with 4. Pushing in, they will need to move past Alter Ego. Fnatic on the off angle. Vampire may be potentially unaware of it, but it looks like they're playing on that ridgeline. 4 players from Alpha 7. In the meantime, on the eastern side, this is the opposite end of the circle from Vampire and Alter Ego. They're going to move on forwards, take the challenge with DRS. IHC forcing this into a linear engagement.
Again, a lot of fights going to start to pop off now. All these positions no longer really able to just sit around and wait for these teams to get a little bit closer. Inco, though, once again, that macro, that game sense coming to play where they pick up that northern side compound. They do it so often, they do it so well, it almost looks like the look, but I don't think we can say that it is anymore. They just have a very good awareness of where these circles are going and which are the best compounds, which are the best routes in. All 4 players currently holding on that northern side. The only other teams that may be able to contend is S2G as well as IHC right on the edge. Well, look at this. IHC is suffering.
Alpha 7, they felt the pressure of that linearized fight and they said, you know what? We're not messing about here. We're going to isolate you. We're going to take you out of the mix. 6 eliminations now on the cards for Alpha 7, and they can continue to push in from the eastern side towards and potentially past DRS. Alter Ego in the meantime. Potato up the top of the hill has got a lot of sightlines to deal with, but Stalwart have other ideas. They're going to move up and potentially look to dethrone him.
Stalwart, like you said, looking to pull the players from Alter Ego away from this position. They also have to worry about Vampire Esports, who I think just have found one over on Alter Ego's side. That's Rex going down. Fnatic, Pombit still alive over towards the north here on that 2-1 split. So Inco really still have a fantastic position in the circle. Looking to pick up some big points here to start off the game. This is what they usually do. It's what they usually did over in League stage, which is pick themselves to a big game at the beginning and then run from it from there.
Alpha 7 have taken a knock, as have Stalwart. Vampire, 5 eliminations. They're playing well and together, but they have got a little bit of ground to cover now ahead of them. Alter Ego stay alive as 3. Taking heavy punishment from the north side now. It's S2G taking shots out their way. Fnatic will be able to get that first aid off, but up goes the vehicle, and slow it goes down. Potato gets faked. And they're looking to add the cheese as well for 4 angry men. It's just Qingchen remaining. The Bison in hand as well. Pombit last standing, wants to res Fnatic in this position. Qingchen flushes out the teammate.
Again, if he takes down the last 2, that would be a pretty convincing 1v3 coming through from 4 AM. With 8 teams remaining, actually some good points here for them. DRS still going strong though. You see them with 4 players still alive, 4 eliminations, certainly not bad. Alpha 7 with 6 and 4 teammates still up. Make that 7 now, looking to start out these games strong.
Inco in an engagement, and Nenebete is holding his own, as we know he can do for Inco. Vampire moving on in now as S2G have moved down south to try and engage on this as well. Up the top, Alter Ego still struggling. So we hop over to the other side of the circle now again. Hang on a minute, we're back here. Silas launches an aid up the hill and Fnatic takes a tumble. Pombit last standing now for Alter Ego. Damage done though to the ranks of the Vampires as Alter Ego swept aside. 8th place, 1 elimination. Stalwart now with a challenge on DRS on the south side. Forwards position for actions. Pika is already down and Scry is dispatched by Gianti on the off angle. A nice find. Nade in hand on the bottom of the hill, and the res up front needs to come through now, or it needs to stay tall. Rules might not even know about it. Hang on, he's pushed all the way through. He's managed to get a knock on the back and top falls as well, but they've turned around on Gianti now under pressure from action, but it's DRS and Stalwart fall.
An insanely good crunch there coming out from DRS from either side. I don't think Stalwart saw what was coming. They went for a greedy res there towards the end too, and just wasn't quite enough. This is again what I was talking about earlier. Is there's absolutely no teams within this lobby that are not a threat anymore. You cannot just pass anyone up. You can't go for these greedy type of plays. You just have to get out of dodge. Yes, having 4 players is going to lead you to a better chance of getting that win, or maybe tailing out of that fight, but sometimes you just got to run away, and that is what potentially Stalwart should have done with his smokes. Maybe got 1 knock and then just scarpered. Still go for that top 5 position. That top 3 was still in the bag, still available.
DRS turned their attention to Vampire now. Ravenclaw falls. Vampire did get up to 4, but they're bumped back down to 3 fairly quickly. DRS, they have 4 players of their own, and Ravenclaw gets flushed out pretty fast there. Fluke closest now and will feel the brunt of an aid in a second to dunk it down. An alley-oop set up by the DRS squad. 9 eliminations now. And the Nepali team doing so much work at the run down. It's the stone to close it down. S2G, hang on a minute, they stole a couple away. Vampire eliminated, and now they're into the fight. S2G taking on DRS, and in the midst of it all, Qingchen is staying alive for 4 angry men.
Oh my days, the Nepali fans everywhere going to be very happy with how this game has come out. DRS playing a very, very passive game over in the league stage, but as soon as they're here in the PMGC, they've had to turn things up by 11, which is great to see. DRS currently looking very, very clean with it. Right now, a couple more teams to go. S2G, obviously a very strong team hailing from Turkey. 4 AM, 1 player remaining for them. Inco with 3, that extremely strong position over towards that northern side. But again, DRS, they have lost 1 player, so this is still all to play for.
Two Brazilian teams remain, Alpha 7 and Inco. Alpha 7 in a little bit of a crunch, though, on the eastern side. Mythic low and actually under pressure from Inco. The other team from Brazil. They will find the final knock there, the final flush. 7 eliminations, 5th place for Alpha 7. That's a very good start to their tournament.
It's a really good start to their tournament. I mean, that's going to bump them up massively. It'll give them that 11-point average kind of lead very early on in terms of like a 3-game buffer, which is ideally what you want if they can take it just a little bit further now. I think DRS realizes this, which is why they slow things down massively. S2G, though, still have a chance to bring things back for themselves. It'd be a really good opportunity here to make their countrymen proud.
With the announcement that the next global finals will be held in their home country, they're looking to make their mark, to try and stake their claim to be there in 2023, but they've got to get through this one first.
Really good developments coming through from Turkey this year, honestly. Just in terms of players, in terms of teams, in terms of infrastructure. And again, this has probably been one of the best years in terms of adding those really, really influential players from around the world. Again, DRS takes this one to a grinding halt now. Waiting for any of these teams around them to make a mistake. Push just a little bit too far.
And they better with that AWM, a fearsome sight as an outpost for Inco. A star player for the roster. With a big heavy hitting gun, Vitali ducks back into the blue, takes a lot of damage to retrieve that buggy, but that could be very, very valuable in the next circle or two to keep them alive, to give them a little bit more cover. Chingchen still alive, top 4.
Top 4's great right now for 4AM. They'll take this. Yes, they only got 1 elimination, but the point system, how it still is right now, 3rd, 2nd place really does offer you a very good amount of points, and this kind of game can be salvaged off the back of points like that. For 4AM to identify that, go for this kind of gameplay, you know, it's not what they would probably do in PAL, but in the PMGC 2022 Grand Finals, this is a good call to make, and that is that adaptability of a lot of these Chinese teams coming into play.
Just needing to move a little bit further forwards in the next zone. Pretty close to the edge right now. The blue zone will not slow. No matter who you are, no matter where you're from. DRS on the south side looking to sweep across this hill a little bit. Inco are holding out. Chingchen finally, I think, starting to strike as the solo player. Needing a little bit more ground, a little bit more position. Might be coming from DRS that actually, but S2G nonetheless still all live and kicking. All of them still in action. Kelsey on the backstop.
Kelsey, good angle, but it's Vitali. Some beautiful shots there from the SLR. Looking for one more. Sees the Bearers in the helmet. Can he thread the shot over the top? But no. From downhill, it was not meant to be.
And Ebete under pressure, found out as well, just Vitali, S2G, taking heavy, heavy punishment. Vitali, he's got that SLR, and now Hamzy left with the duo of Kelsey to try and stay alive. DRS are in the midst of it all. 3 players for them. 6 eliminations on Killer, by the way, in the meantime. And the players from Inco started to fall down the hill. In the midst of it all, still Chingchen stays alive, but finally dispatched. The 4 angry men will go down in 4th place. Now, Vitali around the edge has the DBS. Wait for him to go close. I don't even know if that was from the DBS. Yes, it was. Hamzy sent packing, and now Inco down the hill leaves DRS a golden opportunity, which they will seize with both hands. The Nepali team shout loud in the first match.
Can you believe it though? Nenevete was looking with the AWM to make a splash in his first game, but in fact it was Vitali out of nowhere with the SLR and that DBS to finish things off for S2G, but DRS really knew when to speed up that game, when to slow it down, and 100% deserved that win there for Nepal. Really, really, really strong play from them. You can see that they're relieved by this as well. This is going to give them that nice points buffer available to them to carry on going.
That was pretty heavy as a game for them as well. They had a lot of eliminations on the card. You can see their 6 eliminations for their MVP this game. 1.4k damage, near enough. Brilliant, brilliant performance coming through from Killer for the squad, and the rest of DRS moved well on these hillsides.
Absolutely, I think for Killer, he's been performing pretty damn well recently, and a 1.4k mark is not an easy mark to hit either. That is really, really tough, and I think for him, he's going to be massively proud with this game, John.
you're talking about how these players can adapt, can change coming into these finals. This is what you wanted to see from DRS. You've talked about that change of gameplay.
I mean, this is completely like similar to Nova, right? That cruising playstyle over in the league stages, to get into PMGC, and they bring it all to bear there. But I think DRS maybe doesn't have that strength towards the start of the year, and I think through this team, through Delta, Rules, Killer, Yante, they've really found this magical team set now, this magical core that's going to take them really all the way at this point in time. For DRS, normally I would have looked at that situation with like 3 players still left remaining, but it's DRS. I don't think they can close out this game. Now I look at them and think DRS have got this in the bag.
Seemingly really very effectively as well. Look at that. 27 smokes used, 21 grenades. It kept them together all the way until the end. They played it, I would say, near enough perfectly on these hillsides. And it wasn't like it was a game that just went to them. They had to fight for that position.
Yeah, they had to fight for 100%. I think that Inco, they're a very different team altogether. They're kind of the Nitro Boost team, in my opinion. You know, they've got the small amount of fuel left of Nitro, and they just hit that Nitro button towards the end of the game, the last 2 minutes. It sees them up towards that top 3. That's all they need, really.
Inco don't got friends, they got family. They are blasting out, but so are DRS, with a statement game to kick things off here at the PMGC.
DRS taking home a phenomenal game. That is 28 points, ladies and gentlemen, in their bags to start off the PMGC journey. What can you say about that one? That is phenomenal.
You can never count out the power. I have the impression that's what we can say here. So always a team that can get himself these strong chicken dinners. And the way they played it, I love how John really mentioned it during that game. So close to almost perfection, the control of that high ground position. Really, as long as they cleared the team south and east, there was no way DRS did not get that chicken dinner.
Yeah, and I love the aggressiveness that they were able to showcase too. I mean, we saw them being able to run over people too. We saw them being able to use anything within their means to just get those eliminations. They ended up with their team. But I mean, Inco Gaming, for them to be able to do 10 elims, I thought that was great too. We saw at one point Vitaly being able to get some great angles, trying to put on some damage. It was kind of sad not being able to see Nenebete use that arm. I would have loved to see that.
Yeah, you got himself at least one, I think, knock close and flush afterwards. I
wanted more.
It's not DBS, you know. I'll tell you that much. But hey, Brazil looking good. Get himself a second and fourth place in points 1. Pretty good start.
STG as well, we saw them there, and then you can see one of the players that I was talking about, Inco Vitaly. He was able to put up 7 eliminations, 44% of the contributed. Are you kidding me? 1,300 damage too?
Wait, look at my boy Killer. 21 nades on his lonesome. What? His backpack was just full of nades.
Okay.
Vitaly had 1.
Well, his intake phase must have been pretty good if he was able to throw 21 grenades.
Might have been some smokes in there.
Maybe a few here and there, you know. Yeah,
you gotta use those. Still, what, like, for them to start off like this, that is so impressive. 1,300 damage out of both players.
But we have Inco here right now. They were the team that had, well, the best position for most of the circle. They were the only ones that had hard cover inside their compound on the southern side. Still getting 7 elims and just 1 player, 10 in total. Is this something you expected with that circle?
I mean, the thing is, as you said, right, the circle did come their way, but the way they just control it, and especially when they sent Nenebete, keeping 2 players retreated in the compound, you're just somewhat securing a big area, and you just say, look, allow yourself to get a few eliminations here and there, but top performer, of course, is going to be Vitaly this time around.
Who else?
And, 44% team contribution, really putting the foot forward for Inco.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, Killer YT as well, being able to put up 6 elims, we saw them earlier too. But Vampire Esports, I feel like that was just such a pleasant surprise. We were looking at each other. We were hyped up. I was getting flashbacks from PMWI. This team just being able to third party. I feel like that was the story for me, and I'm really, really excited to see that type of vampire here.
I was really wondering, is what we saw in PMWI going to be showing up once again here? And I can say already in the first game here, 7, that is the case. They took down Nova. They went for an amazing push right after that onto Alter Ego. They're looking hot. They're looking great. They're looking like they want a first good day.
And that is it, ladies and gentlemen, with match 1 of PMGC 2022. Match number 2 is coming up any minute. We got Miramar. Let's do it.
How do we call it?
Oh, okay. That's something new, I guess. We have been working together for so long. But Miramar's coming up, and he's second. Do you want to touch on a couple of things? Because I don't think we've had enough talk about the first game. You were talking about Vampire, and I want to touch on something really quick. Because they took out the current champion of PMGC one of the last 2 seasons. But how did that fight even start? Because you were having some interesting thoughts about that.
Yeah, because they took themselves a fight right before, though they were able to actually defend that compound at first, but the play got knocked. And that's the cool thing that I love so much about Vampire. They're so aware of their surroundings. Every time something happens, like, okay, we know what's happening around us, let's try and turn that into a favourable situation. They had a perfect 2-2 split, shoot angles to scout information on that compound. Like, we're not going to allow you to get that res, we're going to get close, get that nade on Schweppes, and then it's just so easy to just like, okay, full send it, it's in the bag, boys. And it was indeed in the bag.
And I felt like that nade was perfect too for Vampire from Schweppes because you can see he's positioned himself exactly, and he knew that Paraboy was going to decide to back off, probably going to that closet there in that second floor. He got him perfect. And going a little bit back to Nova, I mean, for them to lose order right away, I feel like that was just such a huge shocker to them. I mean, we heard it too. Alter Ego being able to nail him, everybody went absolutely crazy, but I feel like that definitely hurt a little bit of Nova there. Losing that big of a player. I am excited though. We mentioned it. I'm so excited to see Vampire Esports willing to take those third parties and willing to be so aware.
Speaking about Alter Ego, while we're already at the topic, they had a pretty good position in like phase 4, 5, and 6 to some degree. I was sitting here and I was telling you, I have a feeling they're going to win this game because they had a good position on the southwestern side. It was high ground as well. They had a team that was pressured into them by the zone, but they did kind of lose that momentum. What happened?
I'm really happy you bring that up, Alex, because I think that we were both in agreement during that game. You have what to do and what not to do when you're looking at what DRS did in that game and what Alter Ego did. Like, it's a perfect, like, just black and white situation where Alter Ego, they kind of gave too much space to teams like S2G, to teams like especially Vampire, who were just looking so hot after taking down Nova. If they held their ground, maybe they're in a similar position as DRS. Maybe they have an opportunity to go for the win, and then you look at DRS, holding their ground, clearing out. I think it's Alpha 7. I think it's Stalwart also they clear. If they did that, could have had an Indonesian chicken dinner for the first game.
I would have loved it, and I was actually surprised that Alter Ego didn't decide to push on the fight between Nova Esports and Geek. I thought that was going to be the team that was going to be willing to third party that, and then Vampire Esports says, you know what, you guys are taking so long, we'll take over.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be it.
With that being said, let's head over to the teams to watch for game number 2, Miramar. We have the picks from these beautiful analysts already here. I gotta see. Oh, DRS again for Maxman. Maxman, can't you explain? I mean, there's not much to explain there. But
they kind of got all
tell me about it.
You know? I just like the confidence they were showing in that game because, like, DRS in the past, like, of course, this is a completely different roster, but when we used to see teams on the power, they're like, not teams that are known for being like, okay, we're going to put our foot down, this is our position, if you try and push it, you're going to lose. And I love that kind of mentality from them in the very first game. So I hope that we can see hopefully more of that playstyle and just attitude in these games.
For me, I went with off 7 there. I mean, we saw the aggressiveness out of them. I think they ended up with 7 eliminations. That's definitely what I love to see. We saw it during group stages. Miramar was usually one of their strongest maps, and that's also why I picked Nova, because Nova used to be very, very strong in Miramar, and they're going to need to bounce back here. I'm pretty sure they're totally just boiling inside saying, you know what, we can't allow that to happen. We can't allow Order to just get eliminated early on, and then Vampire Esports, I want to continue to see those Vampire Esports third parties.
Very good. You have 2 teams in common, which is DRS, A7 and Vampire, but there's one difference in your pick, which is Nova. So you think they're going to bounce back after that?
Miramar.
Yeah, makes sense. Miramar.
That's what we put things about. Yeah, it's like Miramar, you got Nova, it kind of like 1 + 1 equals 2. I'm bad at math, even I can tell that. Okay?
I'm don't look at me. But yeah, I mean, that's interesting.
Don't make me do math. If my dad's an accountant, he's going to be upset if I get it wrong.
Well, interesting picks either way. Brazil starting off really strong though. You've seen it in the rankings. A7 and Inco both having incredible performances. But I do have to say, out of both these teams, I felt like Inco had a little bit of an easier game. That's why I would still rate, and I can see in the picks and I can understand why, A7 a little bit higher. That aggressiveness, is that something you see A7 having throughout the whole of PMGC finals? Is that what you expect from them as well? Because a lot of people have been debating about, you know, teams like HVP not qualifying, for example, because they were overly aggressive. And a lot of people were saying, no, but it's exactly that kind of good mix. Where does the Brazil team stand here right now in terms of aggressiveness and, you know, maybe sometimes taking a step back and winning it?
This is number right here, all right, in regards to aggressiveness. And being able to switch that on, being able to have that switch, right? And I feel like Alpha 7 is here. Before, they used to be super aggressive, and they didn't have that slow down button. They weren't able to be as patient. This is a completely different team than before. So for anybody watching, if you think they're going to be able to just continue on that aggressiveness, they will. But they will be able to switch it on when they need to. And I feel like that's a huge and a massive improvement out of Alpha 7 this year.
Yeah, I mean, as you said so many times when we were talking about Alpha 7, they're a very streaky team, right? And this was not an easy game for them. That fight versus TRS, I think, is a very slow, like, low percentage of chance they actually win it. The fact that they survived as long as they did, got as many eliminations as they did, is very impressive. So we'll see if they can make it happen here on Miramar.
And that's it from us, ladies and gentlemen. We will be going over to these beautiful castles that I can see on my right. We will go over to Jonathan and the next. Alan! Oh, we got it.
We're here, we're ready, we are a little bit chilly up here actually, but he's doing alright, he's managing.
I saw like DRS got this really cool scarf, so I might steal that. I also saw that, you know, also Alter Ego's got some cool merch as well. So you might, if you see me later, I'm probably going to be just like stacked layer upon layer of different team merch, and I might be unrecognizable.
It'd be great, because no matter who wins, you'll be wearing their merch, right?
Exactly.
You just might have to peel off about 7 layers,
yeah,
but you'll get that.
Like, that's biased. It's like, but wait, there's more.
You put the headband on.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, team headbands.
Team headbands would be cool.
Maybe next year.
5 of them.
Maybe in Turkey we'll get some of them.
Stacked. That's like got this ring up in front of my head just in case I put my head on anything. It'd just be like
you need it.
good to. Wow. Okay. It's kind of me. But
You clumsy mumbler.
I'm quite the glutz, unfortunately. However, there was no clumsy play on that last game, so we saw some really good stuff there from DRS. Obviously, Alpha 7, very strong. Unfortunately, weren't able to take it all the way, sadly. S2G, similarly, got absolutely picked apart by Vitaly from Inco. That's kind of just a Vitaly thing to do, you know, it just happens. Comes out of nowhere, it's good to go. It's match made in heaven for Inco in that particular moment. I think S2G probably was the only other team that could have beaten out DRS. So as soon as they took them down, they kind of secured themselves that second place.
Players loading on into the lobby, make sure they got everything sorted out. Fireflux didn't really have the burn that they had in the solos in that first match, but there's still plenty more left to go. We are into match number 2 fairly soon, as the lobby once more spins itself up to get ready for Miramar, for the desert.
Obviously a bigger map here, said that every single time. Just for the beauties, obviously. Do have, honestly, your boys Vampire over here, looking very good at the last game. Fortunately, weren't able to take it all the way as DRS bombarded them with a grenade airstrike from the side, smoked them out. They'd have no idea what was hitting them, but we are headed into our second match of the day on Miramar.
Plane path from Los Higos all the way up to Torre Ahumada. In the northeast side, a fairly even cut on the plane path. Should be fairly kind to everyone involved. You're looking at who's going to be dropping out towards places like Picado, like Los Leones, or Foxel as well. A crucial area. Monster Wave with potential to get a little bit hot on this plane path as well.
Potential for Monster Wave was getting a little bit spicy. Teams able to quickly head towards that northwest side and get themselves in position. Picado was really well lined positions around the map. Maybe someone's going to pick up that soon. Torre Ahumada, also easy enough to head towards, and top of there, another position around the map that does provide you a lot of options towards that late game. So it's a surprisingly good play map here for a lot of teams in this lobby. We'll just see who's able to pick up those priority spots early.
Halfway on the plane path now. Alter Ego DRS close to one another on the south coast. Over into Picado, it looks like it's going to be Wolves on their own right now. Los Leones potentially shared between Vampire and T2K, but T2K a little bit further north and might not even challenge for it instead. They've got their own problems to worry about over there. two teams dropping near them. The outpost from Nova all the way down towards that south side. Circle pops. It's over towards Impala.
Yeah, Impala open now. Not many teams actually headed over this way, in fact, so you should see some players and teams heading on towards Watchparty or even Impala. Delta's taking the Delta Expressway over towards that position of the map on the old glider. Good news for them. Won't get isolated. Bit more difficult to actually take players out in this thing, considering how fast it can be. Not very evasive though, unfortunately. Most time when I try and pull out evasive maneuvers, I tend to just smash right into trees.
That is one of the main dangers, I think, of flying.
Yeah.
When there are trees nearby. Or even, you know, pylons in the background, hitting those cables. Smash. Bad times.
That's right.
I feel like you're trying to tell me something and I'm not getting it, but I don't know what's going on there.
It's just quite funny because John is dressed for the weather right now. He's got a nice jacket on. He's good to go. He looks cozy. He looks warm.
Oh, so cozy.
I'm currently borrowing a sweater. Got the hood up. I'm sat down. I'm all huddled in my chair. And it kind of looks weird. It kind of looks like someone's a professional and I'm not. However, I can bring professional commentary. Might not look like a professional right now.
Oh dear. You look fine. You're doing great.
Thank you.
We're surviving. We're managing.
It's not always... You can't always judge a book by its cover.
The only survival happening, not just in the game. It's in the
I'm surviving here as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like Gale wins of an Antarctic freezing possibility. But obviously, these teams must be nice and happy. They can pretend they're in Miramar. I can pretend I'm in Miramar.
Yes, you can.
That nice hate. Oh. You know, it's just taking over my
Look,
brain.
you're just gonna get jealous if you think too much
I am.
about
I
it.
really am. But again,
IHC on the western side in Montenuevo, and all really challenge them out on this western edge. They can move in fairly soon.
absolutely. And again, this is what I'm saying about, you know, not judging a book by its cover or me with my silly sweater on. But it's just teams like DRS or Inco where you think to yourself, you know, maybe you're looking at this team a little bit wrong. Like, I used to think Inco was a lot of luck. I think that they're fully aware that they don't have that power to go against some of these teams in the lobby that are right towards the top. And there are a lot of them, and I respect that about them because they just set themselves in positions where they can take those third parties, they can take those off angles, and that's fair enough. That's fair play. I like that from Inco. They're doing what they can to see themselves up towards a top position here at the PMGC Grand Finals. No matter what happens, I think if Inco can keep up this kind of pace, they're going to bring home some good money for the team.
Influence coming north side of El Azhar. Wolves left Picardo very, very swiftly, I would say. We're not too far into this game, Blank, and they've already left and headed all the way out to the east, towards La Verdita, near towards where Nova have actually made their move. So two of the Chinese teams will be playing there. Hang on a minute, there's a third as well, because Nova are in the midst of it also, near the crater, near Minas Generalis. Just a little bit further north. Inco crunching in from that north side. We'll see if they have got that power.
Inco, obviously, this is what I'm saying. I don't think they have that power just yet. But I think what they do have is they have good game sense, they have good awareness, they do their homework, they go home and they study, they keep the little nightlight on, and that's fine. I respect that. I like that a lot. It's something I admire in a team. I think if you just come into these matches and you just have sheer brute force, doesn't always come through if you don't have, you know, the brains to back up that brawl a lot of times. I think right now Inco is kind of consists a lot of brains. They're a strong brain though. Very strong brain.
Big strong brain.
Yeah, a muscular brain.
They've been eating their greens.
Yeah.
S2G on the western side as well, just a little bit behind the queue for Wolves. And they'll draw a little bit shorter, but they're still firmly in this circle for the next. But they went over towards Impala on the east edge. Looking to create an outpost a little bit further into the mix of it all, a little bit out to that western side of their position. I'll be happy to do that, happy to be able to gain that foothold. 400 men on the southwest side. Chingsen was able to get very, very deep into that last game. 4th place, in fact, for them as a solo player. So a good foothold on the tables would have been achieved there. 9 points total, which on the game that they were having, a really, really good result.
It's not bad. I think he was hoping for a top 3. And it was quite quickly that a lot of these other teams went out after them. But again, 9 points, yeah, it might not be that average you're looking for like maybe that 10, 11 plus, but what it does see them is in a range where this game, they hit just a little bit higher, maybe a few more eliminations, they get a decent position over towards that. They'll be making good pace in this lobby. VPE currently right on target with 10 points on their last game. I would like to see something a little bit more explosive from VPE. Obviously, taking the title in PMWI, it took both the titles, in fact, that was over in the main tournament as well as the after party. They were absolutely smashing the competition. It was a global competition as well, but this wasn't the type of teams you maybe see at PMGC. It was some of the best teams around the world, and honestly, then we cut down to these leanest and meanest for PMGC 2022 Grand Finals. I do think VPE could take home the Grand title, and it would be an incredible result for Thailand overall, and a massive meteoric rise there for Vampire Esports, a relatively unknown team.
Having two Thailand teams as well coming in from the region, Vampire and Buriram, is already a great result for the region. They've already managed to put up a phenomenal performance over the 2022 season, so we're looking for more coming out of that side of the world in the SEA area, of course, with the updated EMPL formats, with the shifts coming through. There's more opportunities for teams to try and take them on in that region as well. 400 men, we're going to take on a team of their own, the home team, Alter Egos. But no one really going down too low, no one really taking too much damage, just presence being demonstrated and felt.
Yeah, territory usually very important here on Miramar. I think that you can kind of claim a lot of territory quite quickly. Specifically because there is so much elevation on this side of the map as well towards El Azhar, you can control a full kilometre around you. In fact, you are seeing a team like Influence Kevin doing that right now from the southeast of Junkyard. A7 tends to take very similar rotations to Influence Kevin. Though a lot of times it has been Influence Kevin winning out on that side. With this circle though, it's just quite cruel. I think Alpha 7 figured out a path past Influence Kevin, but now they have to pass them if they want to get in towards the circle. So I think maybe this is a rotating together. I don't think Alpha 7 wants to get too far behind this movement.
Alpha 7 in the last game, 5th place, 7 eliminations. We talked about that being a great start for them. 13 points will be their current line-up there.
It kind of reminds me of like a combo point team because, as they start to build up those combo points and they keep hitting their target, they keep striking different areas, you start to see them like really blast out. And that's when you'll see the momentum carry them throughout the rest of the game towards that very, very end game where they just look absolutely phenomenal. I think if you see Alpha 7 start to strike out too early though, or a little bit too late, and then they stumble, they falter, that's when the engine starts to, get caught up a little bit. It starts to choke and gurgle, and I think Alpha 7 needs to really avoid those types of situations. You come to a dead stop, reevaluate, and then go again from step one.
Fuel not quite mixing there properly for the Inco engine, and King spots a shot onto the squash. Sells it on down. Wolves, S2G taking a little bit of scrap of their own. The Wolves try and crash on in, but S2G, they played well in the last game. They're going to continue to do so here. Memory burned away as well. 2 points found for Kelsey.
Yeah, there's a lot of confidence coming through for S2G from the global stage, right? There was a lot of people predicting them to be in the top 3. I think right now they're proving why they should be up towards that position at the moment with 15 points, 2 eliminations found. Inco, I think this is kind of typical of what we expected to see. Eventually they were going to head central. Fortunately, Nova is just too quick with this rotation. They're comfortable with making it as well. If anyone gets too close, they're going to quickly take shots down towards them. Now, Inco's suffering because there are more teams willing to play center and very quickly.
Will be a little bit trickier for them. However, in the first game, 10 eliminations, second place, you won't be unhappy with it. See if that can continue against Nova's position. You were talking about them being close to one another. Pick feet. Knocked, beautiful, yet to get that res, and with the health bar as it is, unlikely that he's going to be able to make that dash unless you do it right now. Beautiful. We'll be playing solo from here on out into the game. Moves forwards to the building. His teammate falls, and Wolves down to 1. They didn't have the greatest of the first games, and it looks like the second might be a repeat.
The Wolves just as an invitational, it hasn't really paid off the way that they may have hoped yet. Still think they've done very well in their respective region, but I think that league stage, or at least lacking it, for these other teams in terms of Nova and 4AM, it's given them a lot more practice against these teams, and Wolves is coming in a little bit fresh. Now, we can say one thing for Wolves is that they're a very, very strong team. We know that they are, we've seen them perform at that kind of level, but I think for Chinese teams it's about that adaptation. Now, 4AM and Nova's been adapting for the last month towards this playstyle. Wolves has kind of had a day, right? They've had a couple of days, maybe test matches, results, rehearsals, so I do think that maybe tomorrow we'll see something a little bit more out of them. But it could be an instantaneous adaptation as well, where we do see Wolves get better maybe in match 3, match 4, at which point you start seeing them take off just a little bit.
Cliff dives from the 4 Angry Men to move towards Beautiful, and a leash towards WWX, and will actually do a hefty chunk of damage there. Does need to be a bit more. He to Beautiful backs most of them off. In the meantime, Geek Fam trying to hold off Influence Kevin. Wolves fall. The last player did go down and out-snipes one of the 2 remaining Geek Fam players. Will leave his teammate high and dry now as Damrude, last surviving member for the squad. Influence Kevin up to 3 eliminations.
Nice stuff there, Alpha 7. Do have to get in on board that kind of action as Influence Kevin moves up towards that northern side. Fireflux still on the edge though, on that southeast. We're looking at them right now. Only 2 alive, but 0 points found so far. So for Fireflux, a good start towards their show match at the beginning of the day. However, we haven't seen anything too exciting so far. And I think that is kind of the curse of playing as an edge team. A lot of times you can quite quickly crash and burn in just a plume of smoke and not really get anything done, as opposed to a team that might want to play center, might be able to pick up a couple of eliminations here and there and pad their scoring. But I think Fireflux is looking for one of those big chicken dinners.
As are plenty of other teams, to be fair. At this stage, an early lead is great to be able to secure. DRS are able to do it. Stalwart distributing goods, making sure everyone is nice and supplied. Solus scouting out a little bit further north from the rest of the roster, but we'll be spotting them out as well. Inco close to 4 Angry Men and Nova. This is that central position he talked about being moved into very, very quickly, Blank.
See, we get one of the players back up, so Inco's still at 4. We're sent away by Nova. It's not an ideal position, unfortunately. The team's able to watch across. Again, though, Inco's kind of setting themselves up towards Bloodhound and Alpha 7. They'll have to flatten their feet, though. In the meantime, 4AM looking up towards Fireflux. Again, this would be horrific to crash into this one and take so many casualties so quickly.
Ooh, Lutz and Sulky both fall, and Fireflux are down to 2. A really nice crossfire, a forwards movement from Svan, and WWX does them wonders, but King is there to play spoiler. Spots Svan crawling back behind the headland, and there is cover now. King backed off. Solus will be looking out this way, but Ketch in the meantime is also down, leaving Fireflux at just the 1. The res now looking to come through for the 4 Angry Men on that southwest side. As King backed off that ridge line, Jimmy wants to put pressure on as well, trying to back up the teammate, but King is flushed. A player lost now fully for Nova, as 4 Angry Men pull themselves back together. All 4 of them now up and kicking.
Yeah, that could have been an absolute disastrous result there for 4AM after they've secured such a good position over towards that northeast side of Levendita, only for King to come in, find one player on the knock, and then the flush, in which case their push up towards Nova later on would have been really difficult. The fact that 4AM will just turn that around, pick themselves the elimination over towards Nova, that's going to make that push on that north side so much easier now. You can already see MWWX heading up towards Stalwart.
Spreading their influence. Slowly creeping it outwards. Stalwart, west side of the compound now. Playing in the warehouses, they should be just fine for the time being. DRS, south side, 4 players alive. Skirting around T2K. And looking for a position a little bit further east. Buram are going to be ahead of them, and they turn their tails instead. Move back towards T2K, up on the compound on the top of the hill.
Not a bad spot to play here. Do have to deal with T2K soon enough, but I'm also off towards that eastern side yet to really anything too large in these games. Getting 3 points on that last one in terms of placement points alone. Not many eliminations as they were cut to pieces by the likes of R7.
Delta moving up into the smoke. As Rules establishes the off angle for DRS, they are going to be looking for this almost directly, but Alter Egos may be a third party on this engagement. You can see Potato there just off in the distance, moving forwards towards things as they go off. Ooh, a lovely nade straight on through. There's a low health bar there. Unfortunately, there it is. The third party from Alter Egos comes through, and DRS's presence is going to be waning now, as Alter Ego can start to flow across this hillside. But do they want to commit to this fight with DRS at this stage? Instead, they can just get ahead of T2K on this compound.
Decent start there, though. One down at least. Like you said, John, do they want to get ahead of this one? Do they want to move further up? But doing that would mean they would have to come face to face with 4AM or Vampire Esports towards La Bandita. It's a bit difficult now if you're on the southern side. I think anyone that's moved already up in towards that north edge of Minas Generalis is feeling pretty happy. Just off the back of the fact that they don't have to move too much. Little boy from Influence coming actually scouting down towards the eastern side of Minas Generalis. Kind of like that move.
Vampire bringing Stone back down the hill. Razy and Silas looking to just peek over this ridge line, get a little bit of control. They spread out 2 and 2. They're not looking to take the center of this crater, but they want the info on the teams that have got that. They'll be able to get away with that to boot. Circle pops central, away from that southwest glut, and mostly away from the teams on the northwest as well. There's going to be a lot of scrapping up there.
100%, I think there's going to be huge amount of engagement. Them already down. The scout from IHC certainly doing his job there. They will lose one player, but Nova with 3 as well. I think that Influence Kerman, they just have so much strength on this northern side, with Little Boy holding that compound towards the east, Law still on high, providing that high ground vision, the bird's eye view of the map. Really, really well done. It looks like S2G now moving in from the west, maybe looking to try and hamper the guys from 4AM, pick up that position over on the ridge side, clearing out the entirety of La Bandita before thinking about doing anything about it.
5 eliminations for Influence Kerman. This is the only Brazilian team that didn't really have a great game. Last time around, they got no points on the first, going out in 15th place, so good to see that they are not going to be discouraged by that. They will start to step up now. 5 eliminations, most in the current game here. And you were talking about the strength of their position, so we'll see if they can leverage that and earn the points that it would beget. T2K on the south side, looking to move a little bit further north. Hamzy moves on in the meantime, and spots a stalwart player. Pika picked off.
Pika, almost ideal a spot for them. Stalwart looking to get a little bit further on their side, obviously top, Strike, towards that western edge. I think Nova's got a pretty good chokehold on them at this point in time, though. Some smokes went down, but Nova has to worry about the guys from IHC. Alter Ego taking Nox 2. Potato, I think he's last remaining now for the team.
Ooh. Delta just gets back to cover for DRS and around the side again. Yep, and into the upstairs position now for Delta, but the blue zone's there, and there's the knock. T2K will not have to worry about that one. Killer further ahead of the curve. Jane just needs to stay alive, make a move in, and play this one smart. They should see that Delta's gone down and will be flushed as well. T2K also taking shots over towards Schweppes. We'll be able to find them, but there is an answer on that engagement. Influence Cannon, in the meantime, on the northern side, they've been troubling IHC for a long, long time, and will continue to give them that very same trouble. More eliminations starting to flow on through, and teams are dropping like flies now, Blank. We've just lost, I think, 5 teams in about 10 seconds.
Well, it was very quick. Honestly, this is the case of La Bandita being shut down. There's so many teams kind of playing around that area. And you can only play around that area for so long before you have to full send it over this side. Vampire Esports were really hanging on by a thread for a long, long while. They lose 3 players, in fact.
400 men up to 5 eliminations now. S2G struggling. Silas very, very low. Will bleed on out. Kelsey also under a lot of pressure here. 400 men pick up 7. Vampire seemingly the next to fall to their blade, but there is that one shot coming over the top from Schweppes, who is keeping them together now. The only piece of the puzzle remaining for them. 2 reses potentially on the card, but with the blue zone coming in 35 seconds, with 400 men moving in to exert leverage over those down positions. Schwepp's going to have his work cut out with Qingchen on the high ground. Needs a miracle to make this one work. Good Xiao with that Molotov forces Schwepp's to go for a little bit of an engagement there, forces him to beat too high, and actually it's T2K to take the point.
Vampire Esports really pulled out every single stop there to try and make their way through, but it was not meant to be, unfortunately. Aggressing onto that position where we had to have it a little bit sooner, but with Air Studio towards that north side, Stalwart, 4am having a really good hold in that position with Alter Ego also getting in the mix with T2TK. I think that honestly, you look at that and you just think it's a dying battle. I think Vampire Esports thought their position was a lot better than it was, but I think it was just because so many of these teams cornered themselves down towards that Bandita, which is why we saw so many fall so instantly as soon as the circle moves up this way. Influence Kevin, pick up that position that Little Boy's been holding for quite some time over towards that northeast to regroup, and they may need to send it down towards Alpha 7's spot. But as well as Influence Kevin, both are looking to take shots towards Alpha 7 and maybe get a knock or two, in which case they can take up the mantle of that really good spot in the circle.
9 eliminations now for 4 Angry Men already. 3 of their players still active in the fight. 2 teams right now, 3 teams, sorry, with 4 alive. Inco, Alpha 7, Influence Kemen. All the Brazilian teams are still very much in this one, but Order may be looking to change that one. Federal close by to danger, but has backup across the way. Shots landing really effectively, and there's the nade. Excellent 1-2 punch from the Influence Kemen squad. They've been playing with strength on this northern side, and will continue to do so. Paraboy now looking to try and get across that road, get across that ridge line as Order flushed out, his teammate taken away. 4 Angry Men moving into another Brazilian stronghold here against Inco this time around. Vitali opens up the bidding, a good Xiao falls first. WWX is a second casualty in the engagement, and Qingchen now looking to trade nades around the corner. Vitali has other ideas. A nade towards the back goes a little bit long. Molotov around the wall stops the fall back from Qingchen, forces him into the fight, and excellently executed. Inco. Beautiful hold.
I mean, 2023, the year of Brazil, man. I'm telling you, these guys are on the upward battle, the upward path towards the stairway to heaven. And honestly, I'm really so incredibly happy about Brazil and the Brazilian teams and what they've done this past year and what I think they will do this next year as well. Influence Kemen, I think they've come in and kind of revitalized A7 in a way, because I think that A7 was sort of cruising a little bit, and then suddenly Influence Kemen comes out of nowhere, and it's like, there's another kid on the block, and Alpha 7 is like, right, we can't have this, we're going to have to really go into hyperdrive. And again, Inco, the little brother, starting to make their way up the rankings as well. Looks good, I think, with a little bit more time, maybe coaching, analysts. Inco could be a really, really good team. They do have extreme potential. Taking down 4am like that is not easy.
And when you've got stars like Nanabete coming through on that little brother Inco team, it's no wonder. Say little brother, currently second place on the overall tables, 4 eliminations on this game. Brilliant, brilliant stuff from the largest country in South America. They have certainly made their mark and are continuing to do so here in Jakarta. Nova on the northern side, playing with 2 now.
Yeah, still going. I think that's the main thing. But again, only 5 points so far for Nova. It's not ideal as defending champions. It's kind of the day when you'd like to get a big bump up in terms of points potential. Last day looked a little bit easier. Again, for Nova, certainly anything is possible. They have pulled things out of the bank before. I would not be surprised to see a 100-point day be pulled out from a top hat on day 3. That is just something that might happen. Again, though, it would be very, very difficult. Inco. Still on this western side, still doing work. Paraboy steps up, finds at least 1 there, though. Good stuff. Nanabete's down. Arguably the key player over on Inco.
Well, we fell, actually stolen away there by Buram. Across the way, Vitali, look at the light up. Jimmy will be able to do so. It's Scry to chime into it as well as Jimmy goes down outside the shack. Currently held by Stalwart up the top, but Paraboy will fall to the play zone. And that's going to leave Nova out. 5 teams now remaining. Influence Kemen on that northern side. 3 players left alive. Alpha 7, all 4 of them going. Inco 3 as well. Buram looking to try and keep themselves together, but they are 1 against the Brazilian 3.
It is going to be difficult now for Buradam to keep their cool going forward. Coming into the last zone, before we do close this one completely. Right now, Buradam, Tiger, Kengzo, Sky Only, very good at holding down the battlefield. Sky Only is this player that's always been so manipulative of other players within the circle itself.
But playing with 3 shots, really tearing into Influence Kevin now, as Inco have turned their attention their way just that little bit. For 8 eliminations now, as Influence Kevin will fall that northern side. It gave them a lot of points there, but 4th place, 8 eliminations, great stuff. Inco is really the big news here. They started this game on 2nd place. They have 3 players alive and a really great chance here as well on Miramar.
Yeah, they were sent away by Nova. And again, this is the Nitro boost. This is where they click the green button and get going. And Alpha 7 looking to stop that one, or Winnie in the hands of Mythic. They have not moved too far away from that position before. Becca, Swash, Vitali, still up. Nenevete, that key player, not on his feet though. Again, Vitali was able to put in some really good work on that last game as a start opponent for them. Sky Only tries to spray down the guys from A7, but they're making a good move here. Gaining ground actually.
Terrain play really on point for Alpha 7 with 4 players alive. That is the most of any. Buram absolutely blindsided there to a nice little spray coming through from Swash. Buram cut down to just 2 active. Mythic spotted but hits the deck with a Winnie. Wants to tear a head or 2 off shoulder, but have to wait and see for the opportunity. Carrillo being sprayed out towards Tiger as they go across the open field into the buggy, but Carrillo steps up for Alpha 7. Good lit up and Buram fall. That's going to be 2 teams down remaining. Alpha 7 still in it with 4 as Inco take 3 into the final fight.
Mythic down, really bad news. That off angle was so important for them. Now Carrillo tries to get himself back up into action, but already Inco is making the right moves, destroying all the vehicles, preventing them from pushing any further towards the circle. They already have the sense here for a very good ridge to play around, and Carrillo split off from his team. On the other hand, Inco's in a great spot to finish this one out strong. And yeah, little brother might be getting his own back here.
Mythic very unlikely to get rezzed in this scenario. This is the final zone and it will close all the way to the center. There is potential for them to roll out towards Mythic. There is that little ridge line in front of him that can be played as cover. But at the time, really not on your side, and do you want to invest the smokes at this stage?
I mean, yes, it's last zone. 100% would. That is definitely what I would do.
Do they have any left?
Yes. No. Yes. No!
Inco.
And there's a stun grenade. Most more that popped out.
Looks like that way. Carrillo does make a push really far. Squashes crosshairs. That's not going to work out. Unfortunately, there's not even a trade to be seen. Now 2 players active for Alpha 7. 4 eliminations on the game. Mafioso and Revo now with it all to do for the squad. Inco, they took 2nd in the first match of the day. They're looking to try and put up that 1st place here on Miramar. Alpha 7, arguably specialists here on Miramar though. So even with a duo, they are certainly a force to be feared. Mafioso goes down. In the meantime, Revo now last standing for Alpha 7, and it's not long for it. It is Inco to step up yet again, and what a start to their tournament. 2nd place followed by a chicken dinner.
We wanted to know if they still had that power to take on the biggest teams in the lobby. And look, they pulled out the Nitro boost again, but this time the attack spikes to the front of the car. And they sent that one flying directly into the chicken dinner. They'll pick that one up, they'll take it with them. That is a very good game there from Inco. Even again, losing Nenevete, being able to play with Squash, Vitali, Becca. These players really have leveled up their game from league play into PMGC Grand Finals, and that is something that's wonderful to see. And it was great news to see that early, because a lot of these teams are going to be scared now. They're going to be scared of Inco because it's like, look, we took down their MVP. We took down their best player, and regardless of that, they're still able to pull out some big numbers, some big games. And I think for Inco, they have found that teamwork, that synergy that they were desperately looking after.
Vitali was brutal in that game as well, getting 6 eliminations on the cards for the squad. Really solid performance. Did so much work against those teams who tried to move in central.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, again, this is a case of getting sent back by Nova early on. Yeah, of course, that that does suck. That sucks. Almost losing a player as well off the back of it. So you pull back, you pull away, you reevaluate the situation. I think they didn't want to head down towards that Vendita. They noticed there wasn't a lot of players coming across the fielded area early on. They thought, look, so many players must be down that southwest edge according to the actual play path at the beginning, which went southwest up to northeast. So a very smart play from them to just kind of hover in that location. And it wasn't that compounded play that they went for. They kind of just went for those ridges, those little dips that they could play in, those ditches, and then really brought out everything they could in that last moment because they were guns blazing.
They absolutely blasted on through. A great result for Brazil as a region, well, I say as a country, in that South American region. Triple result. Buram could not stand up to the test of those South Americans.
I think Sky Only just wasn't prepared for the amount of firepower that's coming back his way. I think Sky Only's used to, stepping up, hitting some shots, and laying back down again.
Well, Inco making statements here, making big moves. And what a time to do it at the PMGC.